What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28. That's the one, the only. It is Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, what is happening, buddy?
Oh, I stayed up way too late last night playing video games. My eyes are burning.
Feeling the pressure today. Dude, we have a hot show. We had some breaking news step into the show. Completely changed our headline. So we'll get to that in a second. Where people can be joining us live right now, though, is over on twitch.tv/theofficial ITG, as well as YouTube at ITG Reviews. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later inside the game.ca podcast services and TV streaming networks around the globe. Scott, today's show. PlayStation looks to acquire another studio. Dude, we called it. We'll get to that one in a second. One of the best titles of last generation sees the next gen version get delayed until no one knows. We'll get into that as well. Quake Con is back, but it will not be a physical event, and one developer says their PlayStation Plus game had a devastating launch. Oh, dude, I can't wait to talk to you about that one. That was a curious one. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about on that one. That one's really cool. Let's get into what's going on right now, though. Oh, dude, I didn't grab the asset for it, so we're going to stay like this right now. The PlayStation Studio website banner had added Death Stranding, leading to acquisition speculation. Dun, 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 dun. That's right. This comes from Tom Ivan over at VGC. Sony Interactive Entertainment has updated the PlayStation Studio website banner to include Death Stranding, leading to speculation that it may have acquired developer Kojima Productions. As spotted by a Reset Era user, an image of Death Stranding Sam Bridges has replaced one of Concrete Genie previously included on the banner. Other changes include additions of Demon's Souls, Sony acquired games developer Bluepoint last year, and updated MLB, Horizon, and Gran Turismo images. Hideo Kojima founded Kojima Productions in 2005 under the control of Konami, where he worked for over 30 years and created the Metal Gear series. After splitting away from Konami in 2015, he reformed Kojima Productions as an independent studio backed by PlayStation. The company's first game was Death Stranding, which Sony published back on PS4 in 2019, and for PS5 in the form of 2021's Director's Cut. PC versions of the titles were published by 505 Games. Interesting to note on that one, Scott. In March, though, Kojima revealed the studio was relocating after 5 years at its Tokyo-based office, although the reason for the move wasn't specified. Dude, I said because they got bought by PlayStation that they're moving. That's why they can afford the move. PlayStation boss Jim Ryan recently confirmed that Sony had more acquisitions planned following a number of recent buyouts. Over the past year, the platform holder has acquired Haven, which is a brand new studio for Jade Raymond and her team, Bluepoint Games, Housemarque, Nexus Software, and Fire Sprite. But it also had announced in January that Sony plans to acquire Halo creator Bungie. The deal is worth $3.6 billion. Quote, "We're in a really good place with PlayStation Studios and have been for the past few years," end quote, Ryan told the latest PlayStation podcast. Quote, "The critical success and the commercial success of the games that we've been making, that has given us permission to invest heavily in content creation," end quote. He added, quote, "We're growing our studios organically and we're growing through acquisition. We acquired 5 studios during the course of 2021. We're in discussion with Bungie and we have more planned. This is getting us into a virtuous cycle where success begets success." End quote. Scott, there it is. Dude, Death Stranding company Kojima Productions. Kojima himself, the legendary creator of Metal Gear Solid, now is speculated to be acquired by PlayStation. Thoughts on that one, Scott?
Well, it is certainly plausible. And it is seemingly plausible. It's likely that this is what happened, because who makes a mistake on the website? How does that happen? It's not a mistake. Maybe it was revealing the cards too early, but maybe. I don't think it would have just come out of nowhere.
Dude.
Man, that would be an obvious good choice for them to grab, because Kojima has been so kind of cemented on the side of PlayStation forever.
Yeah.
And the legendary, maybe the best creator of our time. So it would be an absolute good decision to grab him.
Well, I think it makes Oh, absolutely. I think it makes a lot of sense, right? You saw the separation kind of, dude, is like a messy divorce, leaving Konami and Kojima himself just separating, going separate ways, right? He didn't want to make it Metal Gear Solid 5. They forced him into it, which is still one of the coolest games around, even though I've yet to complete it. I might get back to that one day. Dude, I started to back up.
You have to get back.
I know. It's one of those backlog of shame games, right?
I keep finding more out about the story, even though I've beaten it. But it's one of those. And 10 years later, you're like, wait a minute.
Dude, I had so many hours invested into it too. Like, I think you and I were talking, like, I'm this close to the end. And here I am now. It's been so long, I'm starting all over. But either way, with PlayStation now stepping in, right? Kojima goes off, forms Kojima Productions. No surprise there. He's now separated himself from Konami, but he wants to get into making his own vision, right, for his games. But not only games, Scott, he wants to get into the movie side too. Who do you partner with that can do that? PlayStation, right? It's Sony. He partners with Sony. All of a sudden now we get a Deathstranding movie or some other movie or some scary movie or some like Silent Hill version of PT or who knows what we're gonna get, right? But I think it makes a lot of sense for PlayStation to step in, sweep him up, and make sure that he's under the PlayStation brand umbrella and keep growing. I think PlayStation is absolutely crushing it. I've yet to see. I think I shouldn't say that. Gran Turismo didn't hit home with all of us, but it's still, the production value is there, and you're partnered with one of the best brands in the industry. Like, it makes a lot of sense to do this. But I was kind of shocked at the same time, though, right? Kojima just left being owned by another company, goes out on his own. Don't you enjoy that freedom, or do you want the security, though, of knowing that, hey, I don't have to worry about finding investors? But if you're Kojima, I don't think it's hard to find an investor on your game.
No, I don't think it would be. It makes sense that they would want to pick up Kojima, though, just if there was any sort of inclination to being bought. Because what if Xbox goes and picks him up? Well, that would be a huge loss.
Well, and that's the thing. You got to think that Xbox was in some kind of talks with Kojima about coming over, right? There is rumors right now of a cloud game coming out of Kojima Productions for Xbox. But we'll see what happens when that future kind of rolls around, if that does, or if it's just pure speculation and rumors. But now moving over here, Kojima, if they are aligned right now with Xbox in this cloud game, deal's probably already been cemented in place, so that kind of has to play out. No different than Bethesda when they got bought by Xbox, where Arcane Studios had a game and Ghostwire Tokyo had a game going on to PlayStation platforms, right? Those still remain in place. What happens now with Kojima? Does PlayStation, because take a look at this too, Scott, because PlayStation bought Bungie, right? We're in the middle of the deal, Bungie, where Bungie says they'll still remain multi-platform. Do they do the same thing here with Kojima? And this is how they kind of counteract with the whole Call of Duty situation. If you want a Kojima game on Xbox, well, then you have to pay us.
Yeah. Oh, I think that would be an interesting idea, but I'm not sure if I fully am on board with this kind of like strategic move that's going on back and forth, because it is possible for sure. But then again, well, there's nothing Xbox can say to PlayStation to make them stay open multi-platform producers.
Nope, absolutely. So, but yeah, that's the latest. That kind of broke this morning. We were 15 minutes out from launching the show, and we had a bit of a scurry to get it. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to grab any assets for it. But either way, a good conversation about Kojima is always an interesting one. So it's nice to have that, and we'll see what happens with the future of PlayStation and Kojima Productions.
Oh, even if it is locked off PlayStation, I'm just excited to see whatever it is that comes out of that studio.
What do you think he makes next?
I think it really is going to be some sort of a movie blend, or possibly something like Quantum Break is what I'm thinking.
Sure.
You're going through and you're playing something, but it references a show or has a movie packed on with it. I can see that. Something with hours and hours of cutscenes.
Sit back, grab a coffee, and watch the cutscene. Welcome to Kojima. Right? That's one of those things. But they're always so well done. Like, man, I love watching cutscenes and that.
Until a flaming whale comes in.
Dude, I replayed that intro for Metal Gear Solid 5 and still don't understand this flaming whale thing. Somebody needs to explain that to me. All right, let's get out of here. Let's move on. It's time for what is up with CD Projekt Red. They've delayed the new version of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Wow. Scott, that
delayed, but haven't they had a decade to be working on this?
Well, so here's what's going on. The PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S editions of the game were being developed internally by Saber Interactive, which also previously handled the game's Nintendo Switch port. The Witcher 3's new gen release was originally scheduled for last year, but in October it was delayed to the second quarter of 2022. A new launch window wasn't announced on Wednesday. Quote, "We have decided to have our in-house development team conduct the remaining work on the next-gen version of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt," said CD Projekt Red. Quote, "We are currently evaluating the scope of work to be done and thus have to postpone Q2 release until further notice. We'll update you as soon as we can. Thank you for your understanding." End quote. Scott, what happened here, man? Because I was kind of really hoping to play some Witcher 3 this year because I keep waiting to get back into the game with the new upres port.
I haven't even gone through it yet, so this is really the time I'm gonna have to sit down and play it. And I know I've made a mistake by not playing it up to this point. Because everybody who loves an RPG will appreciate Witcher 3. But it seems like I'm gonna have to wait a little bit longer. I don't know if that means there's anything terrible that's happened behind the scenes here. It could just be a disagreement between two companies in a very business manner.
It could be, right? There's a lot of unknowns here, I think, is really what it comes down to. What state is that game currently in? If CD Projekt Red had to take it back, I think Saber Interactive hasn't done exactly what they wanted to moving forward with the game for next gen. Like, the game already looks beautiful on last gen consoles. So the game, here's the other side, dude, this game is massive, right? Like, it is absolutely huge. How much work is required to make this ready for next gen consoles? Obviously,
even to move it to the Switch would have been a huge undertaking. Have you seen any Switch footage? I have not.
It's not good. It is not pretty. It's choppy.
I'm hoping just a little bit better than Apex.
Oh man, like you couldn't even see anything on that Apex game. It was bad. But it's I'm curious to see what the state of the game is in right now, that they had to take it back. Like, when you go for a next gen release of a game you already have, dude, quests are already done, right? Like, the story's finished. You're now preparing. Are you adding other elements to the game? Like, this game is already huge and there's so much to do within this world. Are they adding more content to the game? Is that what they're looking to do as well, besides up-res everything to the next gen quality of this 4K standard? Because at the time when the game released, dude, it was just like early days, maybe mid-cycle, where we were at with PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. So things were looking good, but they weren't like 4K standard when they moved into the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro. And then all of a sudden now we're trying to get into next gen, where you see things come up and upgrade. Here's the other things too. Dude, you think this is a free upgrade, or are we purchasing this game again, kind of like GTA?
I feel like this is going to be a repay kind of thing. I think it will have a price tag associated with it. Yeah. It's just being the gigantic launch. It's almost as big as Grand Theft Auto was in a different genre. And I think they're one of the few that can actually
get away with it.
Get away with
it. Yeah, I know I'll buy it again. If it's funny because this one, it doesn't hurt me so much to buy this again, because CD Projekt Red has given out so much free content for this game that it hasn't been such an issue all of a sudden now to come out years later. It's not like it's been across. Has it been across? It hasn't been across 3 generations, right? No. Am I right on that? I am right on that, right? Like, this didn't launch on PS3 and 360. This was PS4.
I don't think so. Although, you know what? I was living in a place that tells me it was quite some time ago. So
I feel old, man.
I'm wondering. I do that to you often, and I don't mean
to. Yeah. Any ideas where we are? So I'm definitely excited to move on with Geralt, especially with the Netflix series being so ingrained with what like our culture now, dude. Like, it's just something we binged that series in no time. So I definitely pumped to get in, but I keep holding off, waiting for this next gen. How far out is this going to be? Are we out 2 years now? Like, are we going to get it next year?
It could go, if it went 3 years, then it would be a decade on since it launched. It was 2015 that it came out.
Okay, man. So that's not so bad, to be honest. It's really not that bad. But it's not like it's a game I've bought 4 times.
So. Yeah, that's true. It'd be my first time over the first time. I mean, if it comes out, when it comes out. It's not a matter of if. It is a matter of when.
Yes.
And when I grab that, it'll be the first time for me. So in that case, I can make a good justification for it. Unlike Grand Theft Auto, which is your fault that I'm back into.
Yeah, but you're welcome. We rolled that last night too. That was fun. Dude, let's get into what's going on with Quake Con. This year, Quake Con will announce once again it is a digital only event, August 18th to the 20th of 2022. Like you, we're disappointed to not return to Dallas this year. An event of this size requires months of planning, and in this case, we had to make decisions where there was still too much uncertainty to commit to successfully executing an in-person QuakeCon. The QuakeCon team is already working hard to put together an exciting new streaming program, online meetups, giveaways, charity opportunities, the virtual BYOC, and more. We'll announce more details in June. Scott, we're starting to see some of these events come back around to person, and then some are still kind of holding off, right? It's just a state where we're in, I think, right now.
Not.
Oh,
So
that's just gone.
That's the biggest one. And if they can, sit this year out, then just about everybody's looking at that option. So it's not unheard of, but it is unfortunate. I wish that everything kind of just came back. I miss these in-person events, and QuakeCon is one that's more leaned towards me than other conventions are.
No, that's fair. E3 definitely being one of the most disappointing ones, I think. But at the same time, E3 is not a surprising disappearance.
That's kind of been foretold of for years now.
Absolutely. I think that one is just gone by everybody's standards at this point. I don't know if we'll ever see it again. And if we do, what's the light of that one look like? However,
it's changed complete appearance now. It's Jeff Keighley's game show.
Exactly.
Which luckily somebody is there to fill the void. That's a great thing for everybody, really.
It is. Absolutely is. But having QuakeCon not come back, I know it's disappointing to some people. I've never been a part of the QuakeCon community, so it's not really my scene, but I know there's thousands upon thousands of people.
Really want to go to a QuakeCon. This is a little bit of a story tangent, but back in the day when I was on 360, I played Quake 4, I believe it was, the 360 version. I played it online, and there was only one person online the game. Entire world, one person. What? I matched with them, of course. And it was the repeat champion of QuakeCon's tournaments that they threw on.
Oh, wow.
So he was like the best guy. Detriment 28, I believe, was his gamer tag. He sent me pictures of QuakeCon and all these pictures. Here's me and the medal and the belt. And
that was cool.
It was insane. So ever since then, I've thought, oh man, QuakeCon's really cool. I want to go to that. Even if I lose in a tournament, it'd still be a lot of fun.
No, absolutely. So maybe next year, right? I think they'll be planning for an in-person event next year. Well, hopefully you'll be able to bring it back. But in the meantime, they will be online. So at least you can still be a part of that in one way or another. Scott, let's move on to some devastating news. PS Plus was devastating for Oddworld Soulstorm. Sales, says developer. This comes from Ryan Dinsdale over at IGN. Just double checking on something. Yep. Oddworld Soulstorm, being a free game on PlayStation Plus, was devastating for sales, according to its creator. Lauren Lanning, founder of Oddworld Inhabitants, said the game was downloaded close to 4 million times through PlayStation Plus, significantly more than the studio's expectations of 50 to 100,000.
Well, it doesn't sound negative at that point.
Well, here's the thing, right? Speaking to the Xbox expansion past podcast spotted by Video Games Chronicle, Lanning said there was nothing malicious about the deal on Sony's end, but circumstances made it a double-edged sword. Soulstorm was free to download in April 2021, the same month it launched, and while Sony has never made it clear how it comes to this agreement with developers, it's understood that one-off payment is made. Lanning explained the Oddworld Inhabitants and its partner developers were already struggling when they were approached by Sony. Quote, "We were hitting a number of legacy, technical, and debt issues and talent issues," he said. The developer needed more money to finish the game and didn't expect launch sales on PS5 to earn more than what Sony offered. Because in January, when the game was due to launch, there was still a severe shortage of consoles. Quote, "We were supposed to deliver in January, so at the time, there wasn't going to be any game machines. We were like, crap, how many could we possibly sell?" Lanning continued, "We needed the money to complete the project and thought we did a pretty good deal. In January, there's no way we'll sell more than this. COVID-19 pandemic pushed Soulstorm back 3 months, however, and by this point, more PS5s were in the wild. Therefore, despite Sony essentially funding the final portion of development, Laney said the 4 million downloads were devastating. Because, quote, because it slipped to April, we had the highest downloaded game on PS5, and it was, I think, approaching close to 4 million units or something like that for free because they were off subscriptions, he said. So for us, it was devastating. Of course, there's no evidence to suggest that Oddworld Inhabitants actually lost out on potentially millions of sales. That's kind of the biggest thing right there, Scott. Oddworld, I think, is a unique team and a game. I don't think if you paid for it, if people were buying Oddworld, I don't think it would sell anywhere near the 4 million because it was on PlayStation Plus. Everybody downloaded it.
Circle of fandom, yeah,
exactly, right.
But then it hits that Game Pass model of, well, I'll give it a try. And that's right. Explains a huge amount of the numbers. I guess they can't really renegotiate. That deal's already done once they've accepted and it gets put on a PlayStation now.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't imagine you can negotiate in the terms of Game Pass either. If it goes just through the roof, well, then you made the wrong decision, I guess.
Yeah, but it's funny because for games like Rocket League, it was a huge success. And then it just carried on, right? And it's brought Psyonix to a whole other level without being on PlayStation Plus. I don't think it would have been in the same spot. Now, this game being a single player content experience, maybe it's a different outcome, right? I think that's the biggest thing. Multiplayer, so you're looking for that longevity and to grow your audience as quickly as possible, just so you can have everybody involved and invested. Where a single player experience, you download it, you play it once, and then you bounce. So.
Yeah, I think it works much better in the case of Hunt. Or, not Hood. Hunt. Hood.
Yeah.
Hood is what I meant to say, yeah. And, well, they put that on there and to flush out the online and to bring a lot of community there because that's necessary to the game. As we discovered yesterday, playing PvP was a lot of fun.
Absolutely, right? And then now there's a community there to play with. And like that's the biggest get for, I think if you're a multiplayer experience, I think the Plus or Game Pass is a great way to go. And in certain circumstances, maybe single player too. But in the case of Lauren Lanning's experience here with Oddworld, I don't know. Still, like I don't know how much they would sell if it wasn't on Plus. Like, would you sell 1 million copies? I don't know. They're expecting to sell 50 to 100,000.
Yeah, so, that's really low. Did not grade that correctly. Yeah.
Not at all. But Scott, we're almost done for the day. As always, it goes so quickly here. What games do we have actually out today?
We have Cat Cafe Manager. I really want to try this game. That's on Switch and PC. Oh boy. Well, if anybody knows of a cat cafe in the Toronto area, I would love to go there.
No.
We have eFootball 2022 on PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, XS, and PC. We have Nobody Saves the World has made its way to PlayStation 4, 5, and Switch. I believe that was already available on Xbox via Game Pass. That's where I tried it. And
what'd you think?
Oh, it's wacky, but it has a very good personality. It's charming.
It is wacky.
A lot of weird characters and different abilities based on who you are. So it gets intense real fast.
Drinkbox is a wacky studio, right? They brought us Guacamelee and stuff like that. Okay. Guacamelee 2. Yeah, the very cool studio, very wacky studio. That's for sure.
We have Road 96. That is on PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, X, and S. Now, that reminds me of Oregon Trail. You ever play that game?
No, I never played that one. You?
No, I'm just aware of it.
No, I never played it either.
I've heard it's punishing. It's the Dark Souls of point clicks.
So Road 96 is all about choices. Dude, I really want to play this game. Like, I really want to check it out. So I might just have to pick it up because I haven't seen that one come in our emails yet. So if we get to, I'll pick that one up. And it's just, man, my backlog is so big. Can I put another game on that list? I don't know. But Scott, that's going to wrap up today's show. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. You can always join us live over on twitch.tv/the official ITG, as well as YouTube at ITG Reviews. If you can't join us live, it is up later inside the game.ca podcast services, TV streaming networks around the world. Until Monday, because we're off tomorrow, it's a holiday. I'm Drew, that's Scott, and we'll see you inside the game.